talking about the WWE Studios movie called 12 Round 3, starring Dean Ambrose as the main star. I believe, as I say, this is pretty much the biggest one I have to date. I have seen The Marine, the first one with John Cena, a fairly famous blonde female actress in it. I cannot remember her name for the life of me right now. I was looking on my shelf and I buy pretty much any DVD. That's not to mean the DVD is bad, good, indifferent. I just collect. I happened to come across The Marine 3 Homefront, starring of course The Miz. Not sure if this is the one that stars Summer Rae. I don't believe it is. It stars Ashley Bell. I believe it may be the Marine 4, if there is a Marine 4, that stars Summer Rae, and the release date on this one is 2013. So that's the Marine 3 Homefront, not yet been opened. May have a WWE movie night, because of course I have brand new here. Brand new, but not in its original shrink wrap. The Dean Ambrose one I got this morning in the post, really happy to get. And I found this on my shelf. A WWE Presents Bending the Rules movie by SES Studios. Sorry, but the writing's too small to read that. But I do believe it's still WWE Studios. It stars Edge. You might be able to see that. Looking like the rated R superstar badass that he was and still is. And of course Jamie Kennedy. Who can forget who Jamie Kennedy is? Jamie Kennedy's like a legend, especially if you grew up during the Scream era and the Scream movies and you're a big fan of those. Then you're probably familiar with who Jamie Kennedy is and also familiar with who Edge is. I'm not sure if Edge still acts. I know he's on the Edge and Christian show on the WWE Network. Free plug there. I do subscribe for $9.99 a month, but I'm considering cancelling my subscription due to the fact that I don't agree with the current booking decisions. I go through that in a later video. I'm actually just introducing these to start off with, because what I'm going to do with my fiance Robin is we're going to watch, I don't know which order, probably flip a coin, decide, because he's like a wrestling fanatic now too. We're going to flip a coin. We'll probably probably both want to watch the Dean Ambrose one first, to be honest with you. But we'll do it fairly, and as fairly as we can do. And we will decide which one we're going to watch first. And once we have decided which movie we will watch first, we are then going to see which other WWE Studios movies we have not seen, buy those, watch those if they're on Netflix, etc. And try and catch up with all the movies that we may have missed. I know there was, is it See No Evil with Kane? I do believe, I know I saw that movie, and no offence to Kane, the actor, the guy who plays Kane, I think his name's Glenn Jacobs. I didn't like the film at all. At all. I just didn't like it. And that's just the way it is. I did remember liking the first Marine movie. Now that there's apparently 4 that I know of, I think it's getting a bit ridiculous. And a little bit annoying, because all of the movies are starring WWE superstars. I appreciate the fact that they want to break them into the mainstream and thus you know, they're mixing the worlds together, and of course you have talents mixing. You know, you've got Freddie Prinze Jr., who I don't know if he's still on the writing team for WWE, but he was, and he's appeared on Raw, etc. Obviously Snoop Dogg is Sasha Banks' cousin, and he did her WrestleMania entrance theme music for her WrestleMania entrance earlier this year. So there are a lot of entertainment industry, movies, music, all related to wrestling. Cyndi Lauper back in the day. Flo Rida's always doing themes, especially for SummerSlam. It's typical at doing like summer sort of music. And I think, I'm not sure if it was Metallica or Godsmack or a similar band. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get totally like moaned at for this, but I can't remember who did Triple H's music. I think it was the King of Kings one. I cannot remember, but he had that live performance at WrestleMania. I believe it was WrestleMania 2015. Where he had Bayley, Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks all dressed, you know, not as themselves, escorting him to ringside and in disguise, and he risen from like underneath the stage, you know, King of Kings outfit on, and Stephanie of course took the spear from Roman Reigns. This isn't a spoiler, this was last year at least, so I'm not going to apologise for it being a spoiler. You know, the lines have been blurred for many, many years now between wrestling and sport, you know, and sports entertainment, which is essentially what wrestling is now. For many years, having been a former pro wrestling promoter, wrestler, manager, referee, ring announcer, you name it, I've done booking, you know, most of it. I didn't like the sports entertainment aspect, and I have very much been about kayfabe and keeping kayfabe where it is possible, which is why I do not like shoot interviews and you know, books that used to be released, such as I think it was Mick Foley's Have a Nice Day that came out a long time ago now. I actually really need to catch up on a lot of these books. Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, so many, isn't there? So many. If you know of any really good wrestling books, like I mean really good wrestling books that are not like too kayfabe, if that's even a word, you know, and there's a lot of backstage stuff which obviously interests me, having been involved in the business and still am. Please recommend them in the comments below. Obviously I've seen the movie Beyond the Mat, I've seen various other documentaries. I did stop watching wrestling for a number of years due to personal issues, so anything I might have missed out on, you might want to mention to me. I'd love to check it out. I'm trying to catch up. Right now, my fiance watched wrestling when he was younger, around the days of, you know, Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, etc. He doesn't remember people like Chris Jericho or Triple H or people like that. I started watching WCW when I was about 12 years old. I did watch wrestling before that, but that wasn't televised. That was at the holiday camps. I wasn't aware that it was televised at the time, or else I would have been watching it televised. And it's a funny story, probably for a story time, but I was very much under the impression that wrestling was real. Yeah, I kind of Brock Lesnared somebody, so to speak. Not to use Brock Lesnar's name lightly or in vain or anything like that, but I think you get where I'm going with that. So I have so many exes that have been involved in professional wrestling. My current ex is now not obsessed, but he's really, really enjoying wrestling now, especially because I can give him so much insight that he never had before. You know, what's a blade job? What's a work? Was this match, you know, was the ending planned? Is that injury real? All these, you know, insights that I can give him, you know, as a former booker, wrestler, manager, etc. And he finds that fascinating, and equally, he's a very, very intelligent man, and he can teach me so much about so many different things. So to be honest, it's really great to have something that I can actually teach my fiance about for once, rather than just him teaching me, because I kind of feel a bit redundant sometimes just teaching him about stuff and me not being able to teach him about anything. I'm trying to teach him as well. I did get a DVD, but it's not downstairs at the moment. It's not a very good one. It's a very short one on the greatest wrestling managers. I think it was of the 80s or something. If I remember rightly, I had it once before, and it was really short. If you ask me, wrestling managing is now a dead art. With the exception of people like Paul Heyman, who still know what they're doing. Lana was the only female that I expected and treated as a manager. I've now lost respect for Lana as a performer. I know she's had knee injuries from what I've heard, and this is, you know, progress, you know, put back her wrestling training. However, she does not need to wrestle to manage. And after they put her with Dolph, and I love Dolph, I think Dolph's great. After they put her with Dolph and then realised they made a mistake because TMZ had already leaked that she had married Rusev in real life, WWE, please keep up. You know, we are in the days of social media. Because they leaked that, you know, they quickly paired them back together, and now Lana is basically his, I hate this word, I hate it, but Lana is now Rusev's valet. Please don't ever call me a valet. I'm likely to punch you in the face. I've actually got in fights over someone using that term. You know, not against me, but towards me before, and they didn't realise they were offending me, but they were. Maybe I took it too seriously, but there's a difference in my opinion between a valet and a manager. A manager's job primarily is to initially, some may disagree, to get themselves over, because there's no way in hell that you're getting anybody else over if the fans can't invest in your own character, okay? So you need to build the foundations of your own character, get the fans invested in you, the manager. That is where you build on the brand, you build on the product, you build on the two of you, if there's two, if there's a stable, if there's a tag team, etc. And you build it from there. And, you know, Paul Heyman is an excellent example of one of the only managers I feel that we still have left. I am probably missing out one or two, perhaps, but not that comes immediately to mind, unfortunately. Not that comes immediately to mind. I wish there was someone that came immediately to mind. Probably I'm going to get a lot of comments saying, oh, you forgot about so-and-so. And if I did forget about someone legitimate, I do apologise straight up for forgetting that person if they're doing a really good job right now. You know, back in the days of, for a female, you know, Miss Elizabeth, Sherry Martel, I used to get a lot of comparisons to Sherry Martel. It's just way before Daphne came along, and she did her screaming, way before Paige, way before all of that. And I also, I got a lot of comparisons to Bobby the Brain Heenan, and that was amazing because he's the brain, you know? He's Bobby Heenan. He's a legend in my eyes. I love Bobby Heenan. He is what a manager should be. I think Bobby Heenan is a tremendous manager. Ted DiBiase, I know he wasn't just a manager, but there's another example. There's so many, you know, I don't have the DVD to hand, but there's so many male and female managers which were fantastic. And then you had your people like Francine, who, yes, she got Shane Douglas over, but Shane Douglas didn't need her to get himself over. Shane Douglas had one of these characters where sometimes you're lucky enough to have a character that a fan automatically hates. For example, I do, for some reason. Automatically go out there and get booed, which makes it quite difficult to play a face, actually. So Shane Douglas didn't need Francine, in my opinion. I also don't have much respect for someone who, quote unquote, wrestles or manages in their literal underwear. Yeah, it's one of my many issues with women in wrestling, and of course there's this Divas revolution right now, so I'm sure a lot of you agree with a lot of what I'm saying about women shouldn't be wrestling in their underwear, and it's time for a resurgence of male and female managers. They need to be brought back, they need to come back. I mean, look, we've got Bob Backlund back with Darren Young. It's not working out so well in my opinion, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see, because I miss managers, and it's nice to see. It really is nice to see. Just trying to think of any more examples of other great managers that are around right now, and even thinking back to NXT, and all I can think of is tag teams, really. And I can't think of any female managers, especially not that manage females. I no longer consider Lana a manager, even though she valets Rusev. Even if she was to manage a female wrestler, I no longer consider Lana a manager anymore, which is very unfortunate. Because Lana was one of the only women that I had any respect for in terms of skill on the mic, getting the crowd involved, getting the crowd to hate Rusev, getting the crowd to hate her. I mean, so much so they ended up loving her. A similar thing happened to me, obviously not on such a large scale as Lana. Not going to take credit for that. I wasn't given the same opportunities, don't have the same money, I don't look like Lana, etc. But Lana was a great manager for the time that she lasted, and it's a shame that she can't do that anymore. I think it's been ruined now. I'm not sure what they're going to do to save it. I must admit I did chuckle when Roman Reigns did, sort of, push her inadvertently into the wedding cake. I thought that was great, because you get so many prissy women that are like, oh no, backstage, not throwing me into my wedding cake, Well, Lana took it like a boss. I'm not trying to be Sasha Banks or anything, but I just respected Lana for doing that. And there's so many women that would be, I'm not doing that, I look stupid. It's not about looking stupid, it's about entertaining the fans. Okay, that's what puts fans in seats. That's how these wrestlers, managers, etc. get paid, by fans in seats. They pay to be entertained, so you need to entertain them. So much respect to Lana for doing that. Again, I can't think of any other male managers. I mean, we've got people like the Smackdown and Raw GMs, and is it a GM and a commissioner on both? You've got Mick Foley and Stephanie on Raw, she's a really weird dynamic. And you've got Daniel Bryan and Shane on Smackdown. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I can see the way it's heading. Shane may well return for another match, maybe against Lesnar, with the way things are going. But with what happened with Lesnar and Randy Orton recently at SummerSlam, it's a little bit worrying because we know what a risk taker Shane can be, and he's got kids, and as someone that's got kids, I'm not sure if Brock Lesnar has kids or not. I don't know much about his personal life other than he's married to Sable, so it just worries me a bit if Shane does take on a match with Lesnar, what the outcome could be, and if it's going to be safe for him to do so. So that's a little bit worrying. The whole dynamic between Stephanie and Mick is very strange. I think a lot of that promotion is obviously for Holy Foley, which I have not seen. I've got a subscription to the network, but so far I've only watched the pay-per-views, SummerSlam, NXT takeovers, NXT weekly shows when I can be bothered. Sometimes I watch the one where they ride along, where they're on the road, and also I watch Swerved. I think they're on, just finished season 2. I could be wrong. I do like Swerved. It's pretty funny. I haven't seen Legends with JBL. I haven't seen most of the original content, actually. One of the main reasons for subscribing was actually the WCW content, because I'm a WCW girl and I was brought up a WCW girl, and now I'm not a WCW girl, I'm just a wrestling girl now. It's really great that it's there though, and hopefully they're going to keep adding more and more and more and more and more and more, to that. I'm very disappointed that you still have to pay for a separate subscription for Raw and Smackdown. Obviously, I think in the UK it's Sky Sports, and in the US it's a different channel, different countries, different channels. So that's for Raw and Smackdown, you have to pay separately. So that's... And then I thought about it, I thought, well, how would they make money then if they were giving everything on the network? Because then we can get the sponsors, etc., etc. So it kind of made more sense to me why they did it that way. So you can kind of catch up with superstars and stuff, and I know someone who did use my network account that, did do that and catched up that way. So there is that way of doing it, and obviously the news and rumours you can find out on the internet as well. As for my opinions on SummerSlam, because I'm going to wrap this video up soon, because I will be coming back to talk to you guys with my fiance about these movies and any other WWE movies we may watch. So just want to say, SummerSlam for me was a mixed bag. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, I did really enjoy parts of it, and some parts of it made no sense. Although later on, when some things were revealed in the cold light of day, a lot of things did make sense. One thing that really upset me was Finn Balor having to relinquish his title, the night after winning it. That was emotional for him and for everyone. Obviously not as emotional for him, for everyone as it was for him, and that was such a shame for Finn to do that. I'm sure he will be back. If I have any sense, he will be. Again, I'm a little bit shocked by the direction. Again, if you haven't read recent spoilers in the past week since SummerSlam, also past week or two, I'm a little bit disappointed with what they've decided to now do with that title belt. So that's disappointing. I haven't seen Smackdown either because due to boycotting Raw, I boycotted Smackdown as well. I will be doing more wrestling videos, something I really enjoy, and if you guys like them, please give me a thumbs up, just so that I know you enjoy seeing them and what in particular you'd like to see me talk about more, wrestling related. And yeah, I really enjoy talking about them. So does my fiance. I have more knowledge than he does, but obviously he has a different perspective than me as well, because he's watching it purely from a fan perspective. I'm watching it from someone that was a promoter, manager, wrestler, and before that, fan. And now I've kind of resorted to somewhere in between. I don't consider myself a mark. I can't stand the term mark, okay, when it comes to anything at all. And I do not like it. So there's nothing wrong with being a fan of something, though. You know, you can be a fan of DC, for example. You can be a fan of Marvel. You can be a fan of, KFC. You can be a fan of vegan food. There's nothing wrong with being a fan. I'm just saying, personally, I'm just letting myself enjoy it as a fan now, as right now I can no longer be involved due to some personal issues. If there's any promoters watching, I'm not looking for bookings, but I am available in a managerial role. I've managed stables, I've played on-screen promoter / CEO, commissioner, etc. Referee, ring announcer, wrestler, which I won't do anymore because of injuries, but I will take the odd rehearsed bump here and there. But I don't think heels should be taking too many bumps anyway when they're a manager or anything like that, because it's too much too soon and it's not built up for the fans and it ruins it. So I don't think that's a good idea. But definitely I'm available as a manager, and I'd love to be back involved. If anyone's interested in that, give me a bell. Obviously in England, so it'd obviously be easier if it was in England. I want to mention as well, as I said, I'm not fishing for any sort of wrestling work. I am considering reopening my old promotion, which has a really bad rep because of an ex that I was involved with at the time. Now, this makes it sound like it was my ex's fault. It's not, okay? The whole thing was a mess. And we're very young. We made some mistakes, and I'm sincerely sorry to anyone who was let down by those mistakes. I don't know what else to say, you guys, other than we were young, we made mistakes. I'm really very, very sorry for those mistakes. Luckily, as far as I'm aware, no one got, physically hurt. I think someone broke an arm or, minor injury. It was mainly minor disputes regarding money that wasn't properly arranged, etc. Booking that wasn't properly arranged, overbooking, things like that, venue problems, etc. So therefore, it may cause me more stress to start the promotion than to not, but I really, really, really miss wrestling. Problem is, where I live right now, there's a huge promotion, and there is all across the UK, and it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, trying to find somewhere where there's not a promotion. My ex, who I was on very good speaking terms with, had to quit wrestling, albeit I think temporarily due to a shoulder injury, well, a tennis elbow, slash shoulder. So I was working the same promotion as him. Due to what happened with us, I'm no longer working for that promotion. I imagine I will not be invited back, which is a real big shame, because some of my good friends, Liam and Terry, worked there. Probably missing a couple of people, so I apologise if I am. And it's sad, that makes me a little sad. And I've also got a lot of friends that, you know, I don't want to book them just because they're friends, but obviously if they're talented guys and no one's booking them because of politics or whatever, then I'd love to give them the opportunity to be booked on a show where they can showcase their talent, rather than, you know, it just be the guy who is all about politics or built like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not all about that. It's about what you can do in the ring, how you can entertain the crowd. There's, you know, ring psychology. There is so much more to wrestling than people, you know, realize, even people who are involved in the business. Now, people who have been involved in it for a very long time, obviously it's not the case. But if you've only been involved in it for just a few years, then you probably don't know everything. And to be honest, I don't know everything either. It's one of these things like life with wrestling. You are always learning new things about wrestling and how it works and how it doesn't work, how to improve things and how to change things. And there is a lot of acting involved. That's not to say wrestling is fake. Again, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. If you guys have a Q&A on my involvement in professional wrestling, I'd love to be sent your questions, and I'll answer them the best as I can, as long as they're respectful. Or even if it's not a Q&A, if you just want me to do another video regarding my involvement in wrestling, providing it's not abusive in any way, and, you know, it's not derogatory, then I have no problem in speaking with you guys about that, and possibly giving some fans who haven't had that inside involvement some more insight into how the wrestling business really works in both the UK, you know, and across the globe. Anyway, guys, quite a long video. I know I've had a lot to say here about wrestling, but I could talk forever about wrestling. I'm glad I cheered up. It's been a really hard week, and I'll make a brief video about that as well without bringing you guys down too much. Me and Robin, my fiance, my amazing, wonderful, I love you to pieces fiance, we will be watching these movies and we will review these for you, along with some other WWE movies. We're also going to be getting through the Star Wars movies as well, so watch out for reviews on those. Obviously some of those are really old, but I'm kind of like a semi-new geek. Does that make sense? I'm not like one of these people who's fake, but I'm one of these people who have so many interests that I can't possibly keep up with every interest. And I do have amnesia problems, usually due to my medication, which is a strong pain medication. And the amnesia can be short-term, it can be long-term, but it can basically make me forget things that other people wouldn't normally forget. Thus, I may have to watch a movie several times to know what actually happened. So if in some case my videos don't always add up, guys, that's probably why, because I'm on strong pain meds. I may as well say it because it is prescribed. It's called gabapentin. It's an anti-epilepsy drug. It's also for nerve pain. It works with the receptors in the brain to alter the brain chemistry. I forget the scientific terms, but I have several different types of pain, still going through lots of tests. But some of my pain is caused by nerve pain, and thus gabapentin only works for the nerve pain, and I have to take codeine for my other type of pain. Anyway, guys, thank you so much that you've sat through this whole video. I mean, seriously, that's really makes my day. It's been a really hard week. I turned 30 on the 26th. Again, I will cover that in a different video. But anyway, guys, if you're not already subscribed and you like my content, which is going to keep varying from so many different things: fitness, wrestling, My Little Pony, beauty, health, everything under the sun and under the moon. Joking. Please do hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share, comment. Just please keep it friendly, guys, okay? I want my YouTube to be a friendly environment for you fans and followers and general people in general. So, guys, take care. Till next time. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now, guys.